Hey, I am Dr.Nikki Zeigler. I am the publisher of the HBCU magazine. I am so super duper excited today. We have so many amazing men that's coming through today. We're really celebrating this the Peachtree Village Festival. I probably jacked the name up, Lord, please forgive me. But anyway, and we're here to really interview Mr. Michael Pinchney. He's going to probably help me correct the name as well. I'm here. I'm teachable. He's laughing in the background. So we're going to go ahead and bring him in so we can go ahead and get this interview done. Thank you so much for coming on to the HBCU Magazine Talk Show. Good evening.
Thank you for having me.
We're delighted. So you got to tell me how to say the last name.
It's Pinchney, as if your knee was pink.
Oh, Pinchney. That's easy.
Yes. Yeah.
I've been trying to pronounce it. I done went to Google and said, can you pronounce it for me? Because I hate messing people's name. I don't like people messing my name up. So I'm a stickler to make sure.
From South Carolina. My family's from South Carolina. From the Pinchney Hill.
Pinchney Hill. So tell us about you. Where you from? You know, what made you get to this point right here, right now? Where you from?
I'm born and raised in Brooklyn. Like I said, my family's from South Carolina, but I was born and raised in Brooklyn. I got into film, as an intern, with Spike Lee. When I was in college, I was a sophomore. So that was my trajectory. I was an intern with Spike. Then I was a production assistant with Spike. And then I started being an assistant director for Spike for 12 years before I transitioned to writing and directing and producing my stuff.
Wow. So you was with Spike. And I've done research, of course, on you. So I'm very familiar with your history. And to see how you have gotten from there to now, your story is unbelievable. I was so excited when I got the call that I was going to be interviewing you. I was like, yeah, I know him. Like, I was just so excited. And so my question to you, what made your parents went from North Carolina to Brooklyn? What was that? That's a big transition.
I mean, that many moons ago, my mom moved to Brooklyn, and that's where she met my father. He's from Brooklyn, born and raised. Okay. So that's where they met. And that's where I was made, so, but I'm a Brooklyn kid, in and out, Bed-Stuy, all of that, and, Brooklyn is the place that made me.
So can we talk about some of the movies that you got? Can you tell them some of the movies that you created and tell about the movies that I'm going to ask you what's your favorite one and why? So I'm intrigued by that.
Okay, well, I've worked on with Spike. I've worked on From Inside Man. I worked on Precious. I worked on Law and Order. So that was my assistant director journey. Right. I've done The Trade about sex trafficking. That's back here. Blue Flame. I Am a Man with Tobias Trevelyan, who you're going to interview later. I did 2 films with him. I did the Christmas movie that we're talking about, that screening at Peachtree, He Who Findeth, and my feature documentary, Trafficked, about sex trafficking in Dallas, that screens at the festival too. So I got 2 films screening at the festival this year.
That trafficking, oh my God. Can you please talk? That got to be your favorite one. It's not your favorite one?
Yeah, it is. I wrote a film called The Trade, a narrative film in 2016, before people were talking about trafficking. People didn't really know. I discovered an article about domestic trafficking, and it struck my soul. I was like, what? Like, it happens here? Like, this is 2016, pre all the stuff and people learning more about it. And it just kind of struck me in such a way that I started writing a script about trafficking called The Trade, about a young Black girl who gets trafficked and she's trying to find her mom, So, and then I was like, man, there's a documentary in this. So I started working on the documentary called Trafficked. And a producing partner of mine in Dallas, Texas, he said, come to Dallas, let's do the doc in Dallas. And we partnered with a nonprofit in Dallas. They helped us find the women that were open to tell their stories. It was a journey. It was beautiful. There were tears. There were, so it was, I'm really passionate about this space. And I'm proud that, of traffic and women being able to tell their stories. And we want to keep this going as a part of a docuseries. So we're developing and pitching that as well.
This is amazing. I mean, just for you to take heed to that, or for you being intrigued about talking about this, because a lot of people shy away from stuff like this. But for you to be like, I want to talk about this. I want to deal with this. Like, what was that aha moment for you to say, I'm going to film this? What was that? I know you read the clip. You said that was intriguing, but What was it that got your attention to say, I want to do a documentary on this?
That article, after I read that article and struck my soul, I started looking at videos and doing research. And it was a quote in one of the articles that one of the trafficking advocates said. She said, trafficking stops when men say it stop. And that was my activation, that I have a dog in this fight. Because typically men feel like, oh, well, that's not my issue. That's a woman's issue. But when I read that quote, I was like, it activated my soul to say, okay, how can I jump into this fight? So that's the thing that really, it gave me the green light. Okay, so let's go. That was the quote that really, because it's a tough subject. We pitched the project and people love it, but it's a tough subject.
Wow.
And so people are scared of it. So.
Wow,
Yeah.
this is awesome right here. I feel like this is so, this is so needed. Like, I feel like a lot of people need to really get in on what you're saying, because there's so many people need to know more about what happens when when people get trafficked. What is the whole breakdown? Because a lot of people have allowed it to be a hush moment. We're not going to talk about it. I don't have, here's the mentality of our people. Well, I don't have anything to do with that. So that don't apply to me. So I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to research it, but it's so, because one day it might happen to you, or one day it might happen to your daughter or your granddaughter. So what is it that you're going to do to help, push it or stop it?
Right. And I feel like, the film, what it helped me to do is, once your eyes are open, what I found out was, I was in Brooklyn and I'm going about my life. And once I open to the world, I can see things happening. You see when somebody is asking for help, but not really asking for help, so once your eyes are open, you can, you could be aware of what's happening around you, because it's right in front of our face. So if you cover your eyes, you're not going to know. And you can get caught out there. You can't help somebody. But once your eyes are open, you can be aware to watch out for the signs, because there's signs everywhere.
Wow. And I'll say this right here. What happened with me? I think like a couple of months ago, I was in Dallas. No, I was in Houston. And I was leaving out of my hotel and I was going to a store to get on the air. I had a plane at 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, I left my hotel at 3 o'clock in the morning and I pulled up at the store. When I pulled up at the store, I noticed that it was a car behind me. He was sitting on the car. Then it was an old man who was, walking like he was homeless, headed my way. Then I looked and seen a white van sent out with and then there was a car next to me. And I got out the car and some said, get back in that car. I'm talking about literally, I don't know, it was an alarm that hit me, but I jumped. I'm talking about literally, as soon as I shut my door, the man who acted like he was like homeless, he kept coming to my car. The man who was on the truck jumped down off the truck to head my way. I took out. I was so wrecked. That could have easily, I don't know what they was going to do. I don't know what their plans were, but something just wasn't right in my spirit. And I was like, I gotta get out of here.
Right. Because it's because people out there doing it. They are waiting. They are waiting, for somebody to let their guard down. Then it's like, what happened to Nikki? Yeah, she was here and then she just disappeared. I haven't heard from her. It happens that quickly.
Oh my God. So you got this out. So what's next for you? What do we look forward to? I know this weekend is going to be amazing in Atlanta. I'm so excited about what's happening in Atlanta. But after we finish this weekend, what's next for you?
Well, I'm actually in post-production for another film that I did. We shot this year. It's called Dream House, and it's about a Black woman with multiple personalities. It's a thriller.
It's a thriller. Okay.
Yes, so it'll be finished by the top of the year, January. We're just going through post-production, editing, and all that. Get the trailer out, a first look teaser, so we finished that up. And I'm shooting in January. I'm directing a to-be original movie. I wrote a movie, I pitched to them, they picked it up, I wrote it, and I'm shooting in Atlanta in January. Yeah, I don't want to say the name of it and all that stuff yet, but I'm shooting a movie in January in Atlanta. So, so those two things are up next for me.
So were you affected by SAG or affected by the protests at all in your business?
I think we all were. I'm a writer, so I understand the fight for creative rights and just a fair wage, and how important it is to for writers to have some stake in what they create. It all starts with the story. So, of course, I was in solidarity with WGA, the actors, needing a fair wage because being a creative isn't easy. People think we make a lot more money than we do. So it's important that we get a piece of that pie. I'm in the Directors Guild and I get residual checks from movies, and like I know a lot of people went viral with checks that say 24 cents and stuff. Like that's what happens. It's like, we don't get a big share of what's being made, and the fact that streaming, because it used to be networks, ABC, CBS,
Right.
NBC. So they knew how that formula worked in terms of giving residuals. With the streamers, how do we know how much money they've made? If 20 million people watch the show, so there's no real rhyme or reason or transparency in terms of how they make their money. So how do they share the money if nobody really knows how they make their money? And they're not really going to communicate to us how they make that money and how much money they so yes, it definitely affected me because we can't shoot. We had to wait. So I spent that time to write a lot. I spent the time to write and just and to learn and to just kind of stay a student of this industry, because we need to be students of this industry because it's changing so quickly.
Oh my God. So how did you know you was going to be who you are? Like, what was that moment where you're like, you know what, I'm going to be a writer, or I'm going to be an executive producer, or I'm going to be, what was that moment that you was in your vein? Like, I know I could do this forever and ever and ever. I was always told that whatever your gift is, you'll do it for free. So how did you know this was going to be your career?
Well, I always knew I wanted to be a writer since I was 12.
Okay.
And I come from a big family, 5 brothers, 2 sisters. So, and I'm the youngest. So I didn't never get any attention because I'm the youngest. Everybody's living in Brooklyn doing their thing. So I developed a knack for telling stories when I was 12 to get attention. So I would say, hey, you want me to tell you a story? And they was like, yeah, tell me a story. Give me a topic. And they'll give me a topic and I'll make up a story, and have a stage. So I learned how to write that way and tell stories. And I always wanted to write. I wrote short stories in high school. And then when I went to college, I was a writer. I didn't do film. I went because I got a scholarship to play basketball. I know I'm short, and then people are like, oh, you got a scholarship? I'm like, yes, I'm from Brooklyn. I got a scholarship to play basketball. And I went to SUNY Purchase. It was a Division II school upstate New York. And, I worked in a library, and the woman that ran the library, she was like, hey, there's a director giving a workshop in Brooklyn. You should check it out. You from Brooklyn? I was like, yeah. She said, his name is Spike Lee. You should check it out. I went and checked out his workshop, and Spike was talking about writing and directing. And I'm like, I want to do that. And I asked the people at the workshop, I was like, hey, how can I be an intern? They said, send your resume in, kid. I sent it in. They called me for the interview, and the rest is history.
Oh my God. So what did you learn? What did you really, and I love the fact that you say be teachable, like be teaching. I talk about this all the time. You have to be teachable. And then another thing I love about you is the fact that you were like, I want to be that. Like you didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like you knew what you wanted to do. Some people get intimidated because Spike Lee is a big deal. Come on, can we say this? Morehouse grad? Yeah. It's a big deal. So for you to say, I want to be that, like that was, for me, that was everything, because you had your eye on the prize, and this is so good. So what was your takeaway being under his stewardship and submitted to him and being taught through him? What was some of the takeaways that you learned for what you're doing now?
I mean, I took away, it being an assistant director for Spike, he's just a perfectionist. He's so prepared. So you learn how to be prepared. You learn how to be, have a vision. You learn how to lead. You learn how to, run a ship. You know how to be very decisive about what your vision is and what you want to do. And so you learn, work ethic. You learn how to work hard. I know, a lot of young people are finding it hard to really know how to put in that work without getting a reward immediately. But I learned that. I learned how to, put in hard work nonstop without, just for the work's sake, not for the glory and not for the gram. That was before my time when I was in it. And it was like, so you learn how to do versus, you learn by doing. And we had to do learn. Now you can research and you think you've learned it, but you haven't really learned it. So I learned, to be pragmatic in my thinking, how to transfer something from the script, from the page, to now how do I execute that to bring it to the screen. So it's very, it's very kind of hands-on, being pragmatic and being a realist, and not, theory is great. Feelings are great, but how do you turn something from theory into practice? It's kind of like faith without works. It's kind of like that thing. It's like I learned to work. I got the faith, but I learned to work too. They got to go hand in hand. So that's what I took overall.
I'm an advocate believer. You got to put the work in. You got to put the work in.
You have to. There's no shortcut. There is no shortcut. You have to put the work in. And that's the only way you appreciate once you get the blessings, is that you put the work in. If you get it too easy, you know what? You're going to lose it too easy.
That's true. That's why I'm always like, pay for the services, because when someone pay you for services, they're gonna handle their business. But if you give it to them free, they're not gonna appreciate.
Right, and they're not gonna show up. Right,
not gonna show up. So it's all about not devaluing, who you are.
Yes.
So when I'm gonna throw a word out for you, and I want you to take heed to this word. What do you say about your legacy? What do you want that to look like?
My legacy. Well, I want my legacy to be, ultimately, about people that I've touched, about stories that I've told, and about, somebody that, because I'm Christian, I'm very spiritual. It's like someone that, that illustrated God in them, in all that they do, in their work, in their personal life, just someone who's kind of lived, on a path, I'm not gonna say righteousness, but just a authentic path, someone that just kind of, constantly wants to make their father proud, in all that they do. That I want my legacy to be his legacy in every sense of the word, so, I want to show up, and into glory. And he said, good job, son. That's it. Then that's what I want, so, and I'm hoping to touch people and to inspire people to want to do that as well, because I feel like that's when we really hone in on our true power, is when we are a vessel, ultimately,
This is good stuff. I know there's another Michael. He has your whole name. Who is this guy?
What guy? Wait.
Yes, have you researched it? His name, he has your whole name.
What do you mean whole name? Michael Anthony Pinchney?
It's just, it's Michael. Pinchney is a very unique name.
Right. I was actually named from my brother who passed before I was born. His name was Michael.
I need you to Google this name for me. Just when we get offline, just take your phone.
Really?
Yes, you can do it now.
Michael Anthony Pinchney?
He has Michael Pinchney. I'm telling you, it's your name. Like, that's a very rare name. He's like,
that's why, that's why, it's Michael Boogie Pinchney everywhere on entertainment. That's my stage name.
That's how I found you.
I've even went as far as not using Michael Pinchney as my name at all anymore. Like now you'll see directed by, it says Boogie Vision. I'm like, I'm not even using Michael Pinchney anymore. I've transcended that.
That's how I ended up finding you. I was okay, there he is. Because the other guy, I was like, he don't look like this picture. Like, this is not the guy. And so I researched it. That's why everything kind of came. I was like, okay, this is what I'm talking about.
Once you say Boogie Vision, then it comes up.
So what the name Boogie come from? You got to tell us. What does Boogie
actually it came on, I forgot the Spike film, but it came on a Spike film. I was a PA, and I was like, as a production assistant, I was like about that life. I was energetic. I was fast. I was hungry. I was young and hungry. And the first AD name is Mike Ellis. He kind of groomed me from an intern to an AD. And his name was Mike. And they was like, Little Mike, Big Mike, Little Mike. So they kept getting mixed up. And they was like, we got to think of a nickname. And I just was so fast and energetic. And I forgot who said, let's call him Boogie. And it was that's the end of it. Because I was really going 100 miles an hour. I was so excited as a PA. I was first one there, last one there. Like I was so hungry.
Oh wow.
So and what you do is you make yourself irreplaceable. I was an intern just like there was 20 other interns. I was a PA like there was 10 other PAs, but I lasted. I was able to move up, and he EP'd my feature film debut. You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You, because I made myself valuable. No matter what
Wow.
position you are, you can make yourself valuable. And that's
You
what's
talk
important that I think young people need to understand. How do you make yourself valuable in the market and to the person that you're working for? It's not about I want to be them, I want their job, because that's what it is now. They want to be the boss now. It's like, no, how can I serve? How
Come
can I?
on.
And that was my posture was serving, and then God blesses you. But if you want to just be served,
You're trying to
it don't
skip
work that
all
way.
the lines. You're trying to just go from 80. You know what I'm saying? And I think I talked to a publicist today, and she was just like, I just never heard of you before. I said, girl, I've been in media for 18 long years. I have served the best and the least to get to
Right,
where I'm at. People don't know that. If they don't know you,
right,
you will never know. But for you to say the word serve, and we're talking about serving so much, you got
right.
to serve. It's not going to happen
Yes.
overnight. You got to
Oh,
serve people. Oh my God, this is so
yes.
good. I'm just so enjoying.
And when you serving, you're learning. You're serving and you're learning. Like there's some stuff that I got from Spike that I didn't even know I was getting from him, from
Oh
just
my God,
being there.
just
You
being
know
in
what I'm
the
saying?
room.
But people don't get that. Just show up. That's it.
Oh,
Just show up.
oh my God. So Spike Lee was your guy. Who else have you really looked up to? I know you got Spike Lee, and he's amazing. We all know this. Who would
Looked up.
be the next person you'll say, you know what, this is who I want to model my, my brand or me. You know what I'm saying? Who else would you say you look up to?
I mean, I guess there's only one other person I look up to. It's God,
Come
and
on, God.
I'm trying not to like I'm trying to model myself as myself. That's what
Yeah,
Boogie Vision is, a entity, and my directing persona, and so I don't want to. I respect whether Spike, Tyler. There's giants in the game, that are
right.
doing it, and I'm like, okay, so where do I fit, and how
Where do
do
you
I
fit in?
want to do my thing, independently. So I'm creating as I go, and
Mm,
and I admire and respect all of them. And I've taken pieces from everybody, and I'm like, okay,
that's
these are
right.
ingredients to make the Boogie Vision sauce. You
Come
know
on
what I'm
now.
saying? I'm making
Come
some
on.
Boogie Vision sauce now. What's happening? What's happening?
This is what's up. But I mean, listen, I love your spirit. You have you got that aggressiveness, but yet you're so meek and humble. Like I see you going. I'm gonna say, you know what? I remember when I interviewed him. Look at him now, man. He done blew up.
From your
Listen,
lips to God's ears. Let's get it. Yeah.
this is going to be good. So I know the film festival's going on this weekend. That's why we're
Yeah.
here. We're one of the media partners for the film
Nice.
festival. So tell us, what do we look forward to over the weekend? It's kicking off. Y'all got it's so much going on. Like, oh my God,
A lot going on.
what's going on?
There's a
So
lot
tell
going
us more
on.
about what you got going on. What do we expect from you over the weekend?
Yeah, He Who Findeth, the Christmas movie, is screening at the festival. It's
Yes,
also streaming on Manza right now. Platform, and it's the number one film on the platform. Then it's eventually
real.
going to Tubi and Aspire. But it's a Christmas movie, it's a feel good movie, it's a family friendly movie. It's
Yeah.
some Black excellence movie. You know what I'm saying? So we shot last year. So that's showing in the festival. Trafficked, the documentary about sex trafficking, is showing in the festival. I know there's parties, there's award shows, you know how they do it in Atlanta. They doing it.
Yes. We listen. We do it big in that. Look, we do it big in Atlanta. So I'm excited to see what's gonna showcase. I do want to definitely push the Christmas movie. We're in Christmas time, so this is perfect
Yes.
timing. So can you tell us before you go about the Christmas movie? Because we're all about get some popcorn, putting on our TV, putting our slippers on,
Right.
and finding good, warm movies
Yes.
that make your heart kind of be like, oh, I wish I was in that
Right.
position. So tell us about that movie.
And it's definitely a Christmas Cinderella story. It's
Yeah.
about love. It's about a rich real estate mogul that come from a rich family, and he's focused on work, but his mother and his father want him to find a woman. So they has this big ball for his charity that he created. And one of the prizes is a date with him. So the event planner that they hired, of course some sparks fly, and there might be a romance budgeting with them, but it's him finding true love on his own terms, and her not want to date and find love, and they and they find each other, and it feels good. Is of course it's some another woman that wants to steal him, and so it's a little bit of that, little backstabbing, so it's a fun movie. It's a fun movie. Yeah.
Look, you be saying little backstab. I think it's big backstabbing. I can't listen. I'm excited about the movie, and I'm so excited to have you with HBCU. The last question we have of this particular interview: what can you tell an inspired student who wants to be Boogie Vision? What kind of advice would you give a young African American male who wants to be a producer, a writer, a PA? What can you tell him?
I would say, once you decide what you want to do, there are people that you don't have to, they got people that created it already, like what you want to be. So if you want to be Jamie Foxx, research Jamie Foxx, who his agent is, what work he's done, do the work, do the research to learn more about the craft. You got to be a student of the industry. If you want to be a director, study directors, watch directors, watch behind the scenes, and work for a director. That's the best way for you to learn, is work for people that are doing what you want to do, and being an apprentice and learning and being the sponge. So whatever and understand that it's going to take time, and being committed and disciplined, and being super focused on what you want to do, because there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of distractions. We all we have, I know you can attest that we have made sacrifices to be doing what we're doing. We ain't going to every party. We ain't, you know what I'm saying? So you have to sacrifice, and you might not be hanging out with your friends all the time. You might not be, and that's just what it is. You have a mission, but in 5 years, you'll be happy that you made those sacrifices for your dream. This is your dream. It ain't their dream. So it's not their responsibility to keep you focused. It's yours. It's your dream. So and sometimes people aren't going to understand it. So I would say just stay focused, be disciplined, decide what you want to do. And I'm a maniac with it. I'm like, I don't like, and you have to, and Spike is a maniac. You have to be super duper focused.
Wow.
And block out all the noise. And sometimes the noise is friends, family, whatever. You have to block out the noise, and you have to be relentless on your pursuit of what you want to do.
I love the word relentless. And I'll say this, oftentimes we got to stop expecting our family to support us. I think a lot of people have lost their way because they were looking for family to be the support. Sometimes your family not going to support you. Sometimes you're going to have to be out there by yourself.
Yes.
Most times.
Yes.
Most times. I like that.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Boogie.
One more thing. Can I plug one more thing?
Please.
The producer, the founder of Peachtree, Len Gibson, and Wayne Overstreet. We also doing, 6 Minutes of Glory, the HBCU band experience. We've been shooting the show for Aspire. We just completed season 2 of the show, a docuseries on marching bands. I could not plug it since we had HBCU magazine. So
plug it.
Season 1 is on Aspire right now. So check it out.
We're going to check it out, and we're going to share it on our pages.
Yes.
And so listen, we want to give a shout out to the film festival. We're excited to see what's going to happen this weekend. Listen, I think tickets are still available. I want to say tickets are still available. I'll go back and put the link in for the tickets. I'll edit it and make sure it's right. But we're live. So thank you guys for watching the show. Someone says, excellent interview. Thank you so much. You've been getting comments.
Uh-oh.
You see him?
Hey, family. What's up?
Jill Bonner, good to see you on here. Good to see Margie Stupert. Hey, guys. Kai. I'm going on my end. I see Angela House on here. Dee Dee. Good to see you guys. Thank you so much for joining the show. Go ahead and like, tag, and share. Share the show out. And thank you so much, Mr. Boogie. We got another interview kicking off in the next 5 minutes.
Take
care, guys.
You too. Bye-bye.